we're going to talk just for a minute about the charter renewal visit and the timeline of when we're expecting things, next steps. And then we're going to just give you a quick little 1-second update on scheduling Avengers and where we are right now. Met with them this morning. And then we're going to talk a little bit tonight about the state ranking for the SAT and AP. And then we'll do a little razzle-dazzle time. And then the board members have requested that I talk about upcoming events, the things that are coming up in the next month or two, and so we will hit that too. Okay, so charter renewal, as you may remember, they came on November 1st. This is something that happens every 5 years here at AMSA. They're doing things a little bit differently on their side, which changes the timeline a little bit, and I want to make people aware of it. So we will be receiving a draft of our site visit report on or about January 14th. This is considerably later than I thought. When they left, they thought about 4 to 6 weeks. It's actually out to January 14th. Once again, it used to go back and forth a couple more times than it is now. So it's going to be January 14th, and what they'll do is they'll give us a draft of the report, and then we can check it for facts, and that's all we can check it for. And then we can expect our commissioner's recommendation to the board, that's the state level board, during the week of February 10th. This is also much later than we expected. And what has happened here is that we had 20 charter schools in Massachusetts that were up for renewal this fall. That's unusual. So what they did was they scheduled their site visits September, October, November, December. We were November 1st. So we're in the second half. So there is another group of folks who are getting their reports before the holidays, and they will be getting their decisions mid-January. We just happen to be in the second cohort. But that visit, as I said before, it went very, very well. So we're expecting, hopefully, very good news to come. Fingers crossed. Okay, so the scheduling timeline. Scheduling has always been a big topic here at AMSA. It really is the backbone of the school. The program of studies was just published yesterday, December 4th. It was going to be out, but due to snow, it ended up coming out on December 4th. And so you'll see the updated version if you take a look under student academics on the website. So then the teachers, so the students can start looking at that now, and the families, it went home also with a link and an email to families. Teachers then, when they come back from the holidays, January 7th, they will start putting in course recommendations. Right now, the scheduling Avengers are actually creating the side of the website where they put in the recommendations. And then the students will begin requesting classes on February 1st, and they'll have a couple weeks to do that. And then the department chairs will get the list of, how many students want to take AP Euro and how many students want to take, calculus. And then they will determine how many sections of each we can offer, we can support, or how many sections are required. So if it's a huge request for, AP Bio, we see how many sections we can cover. And that they'll have that all done by March 6th, and then the scheduling Avengers go live, and they start working on that, getting that schedule ready. All right, so a quick thoughts around, I'm hoping this is going to be the final time that we talk about test scores from 2018 and 2019. So hopefully this is the final overview. Mike, the next one. But some things, we're talking about ranking tonight, which is different than percentiles. Some people like ranking. I think there's things we can learn from ranking, but I don't think that it's the end of the story on data for sure. And so there's some things I would like us to consider as we look at these rankings for SAT and AP, and I separate them out. And the first is that the SAT, all the students are taking the same exam with the same two sections, right? It's the reading and writing section, it's the math section. And the students are taking these exams for the most part between the spring of their 11th grade year and the earlier fall of the 12th grade year. So it's the same students taking the test. They're around the same age, within 6 months of knowledge and development. And so I think that you really can look at an SAT and you can rank it, and you can get a nice solid score or solid averages for that group of cohort of students. AP is very, very different. And it really, to me, is apples and oranges. I don't know how you really can rank AP scores, because you're ranking against schools from all over the state who have different criteria for getting into an AP class. They're teaching different AP classes. And when you take a whole average, you know, we have 18 AP exams that we offer. There's AP exams that we don't offer, specifically because, for example, see computer science, principles of computer science, as Ms. Bandru would tell you, that's our middle school curriculum. So we don't use that AP exam. We use another computer science AP exam that she uses that's more appropriate at the level where our students are ready to be. But if we did the principles class, the kids would get all 4s and 5s, right? But we don't do that. And the same thing Dr. Giray says with the AP environmental science exam. So when we have 18 exams that you're taking an average on, all different ones, compared to a school who maybe taught 10, with different criteria to get in, and different numbers of students taking the test, it makes it really hard, I think, to actually get a true ranking. And then we also at AMSA, and it's different for every school, but we offer AP classes in 10th grade through 12th grade. Some only do 12, some only do 11th, some do 9th through 12. So it's, once again, tough to compare. The other thing is that we encourage all our students to take AP exams. We have a goal in our accountability plan that at least 90% of our students will take at least one AP class during their high school time. So that's really encouraging to just open doors to allow students to take AP. But there are some schools out there that don't have that open access, right? There's a lot of qualifications it takes to be able to take an AP, so those scores can be potentially higher. So once again, ranking on AP, I think we're talking about apples and oranges. Jess and I had a detailed conversation about this earlier. You want to throw a thought in there, Jess?
Yeah, I think if you saw rankings, for instance, like how AMSA did on the AP Calc exam compared to all of AP Calc all over the state, that might be valuable. For instance, the AP exam scores are not particularly normed to a pass rate. So for instance, I teach AP Gov, which nationally has a pass rate of like 52% compared to like AP Calc, which I think is like over 70%. So they're not normed to all have the same passing rates. So some exams just they have their own standards within them. So it's a little bit complicated. So I wouldn't look at my score and say, oh, more of my kids pass than AP French, because it's not the same. They're just, whereas SAT is a little bit more normalized across the board. Does that make sense? AP is kind of a weird thing.
Yep, and so I'm also going to show you there's also some inconsistencies between the reports that we got from College Board and what the state is actually reporting on their website. Okay, so we're going to look at SATs first. We had 185 SAT exams that were taken by AMSA students. They do not take them here for the most part. They go to other schools to take those exams. And our average scores for reading and writing was 624, ranked us in reading and writing 10th in the state, and our math average score was 662, and that ranked us 4th in the state. So once again, I can look at this and I can see those are really very, very strong scores. And I do believe it's more apples to apples that we are comparing and ranking. But now we take a look at, this is the state AP rankings, and you're going to see first, so I put this in a kind of a comparison so you can see the discrepancies. So College Board has reported that we had 483 tests taken. For some reason, the state says we had 490. It was 483. As far as percentages of scores 3 plus, College Board reports to us that 89% of our scores were 3, 4, or 5, 5 being the very top score. The state actually says that our percentage of 3 plus scores is 84.5. And so I looked at that a little bit more closely and I thought, my goodness, where in the world is the discrepancy? But they also drop scores for tests when we test 10 or less students. So for example, our AP Lang, we had 9 or 10 exams. They just dropped that. And our average score was a 4.14, excuse me. And so when they drop some of our exams where our students scored very well.
AP Art 2 is less than 10.
Yes, it's less than 10, and our AP Art students were outstanding this year. And so their scores actually were over 4 also. And so those got dropped. So I think it really skewed this number, and I wanted you all to see that in actuality, this is what the College Board has reported to us, 483 exams, 89% with 3 or above for scores. So when I actually went on to, and if you're interested, the link is down here, when I actually go into the Mass State report, if you look at the 84.5, which I don't believe are accurate numbers, we rank 41 with the 18 AP scores that we have. But if I take actually the solid 89% the College Board gives us and put it into the list, it puts us more at 27. Once again, you know, we have some really outstanding AP scores, and we have some AP scores that we need to work on, AP classes that we need to work on. I don't think that they can be really ranked in a clear way.
The aggregate is just not, the aggregate's weird, yeah.
Yeah, it's just not there. So just to give you just some thoughts, though, when we look at this number of test scores 3 and above, this is a slide I used in September. This year, as I said, 89%, but I gave you some history here too. So in 2018, 92% of our students scored 3 and above, 84% in 2017, 86 in 2016, and 89 in 2015. That's our last 5 years. I think that's maybe a better measure of our success. Our goal is to be 90%, so that's what we're working towards. We haven't quite hit that. We hit that 1 year, but we are working towards that. And once again, just as a reminder, for this year, Massachusetts average overall for this whole state was 76.6, and globally 67% with 3 and better. All right, and so once again, though, we always strive for academic excellence at AMSA, and we're always trying to do better every day in everything that we do. And so, just a reminder to let you know that we've created this document here called the Baker's Dozen. You received a copy of this in September. It was put together by Dr. Lewis, a number of the department chairs. I know Jess Bowen helped, and a number of AP teachers helped put this together and reviewed it with the top 13 Baker's Dozen list of things to do to boost student AP scores. The department chair has been working much more closely this year with our AP teachers who need the extra support, and there's been other support put in place to work on those areas. And now we got a little time for razzle dazzle. I got about 7 minutes. Here we go. All right, you may have seen, may not have seen that that Newsweek ranked AMSA number 70 out of 5,000 in the country for STEM high schools. Very proud of that. Mike Finkel has that all over social media, so thank you, Mike. And then I wanted to give you an update on the Diderot Society. You may remember this is something that Anders has been working on closely with Jordan Hill. They have a fantastic group of kids in there. I got to go to their meeting last Friday. It was absolutely delightful. It made my week. And they have a colloquium night coming up on January 15th. Want to make sure that you're invited to that at 6 p.m. And this is a little video that Mike does, these highlight videos. I just wanted to show you a minute of this, of the kids talking about Diderot and what they've been doing.
Everybody, welcome. Season 2, Core Values in Action. Mr. Naraki here, Principal of AMSA, and I'm here with 2 great guests. I have Anant Sinha, Senior here at AMSA, and Co-President of our Diderot Society, and Nathan Hardy, Co-President of our Diderot Society.
Having 5 pillars to kind of build our society off of. Having a pillar of a discussion group where kids can gather, again, learn about different schools of thoughts and apply that to contemporary issues. And then we also brought in the concept of having a podcast and also a journal where we could discuss a bunch of different academic things. Another theme we've talked about is, you know, whether it's good for the entire population to watch The Simpsons or read Shakespeare, right? Do you decree that they have to do one or the other if they have the choice to do something?
Simpsons, is it justified that we project the Shakespeare's works as more important than The Simpsons, or is that all up for debate? In the Diderot Society, we're fundamentally trying to draw from the wisdom of the past in order to make well-informed decisions in the current era and in the future.
Okay, so Nathan actually mentions about the podcast, and we actually have our first podcast that's going to be published, I believe, mid-December, and I believe it's Mr. Smith from our English department. And then there's one coming up a couple weeks after that, and that's Miss Waldron, our English department chair. So it's going to be absolutely delightful. So they have that coming up, and then they have their first event coming up in January. So it's very exciting. All right, so you may or may not have heard the great success of our girls volleyball team. And they actually won this particular game. You can see Mr. Bengiovanni up here at the top of the photo. What a great group of girls. I missed this game, went to the next one, which we ended up losing, but they did win the Division III Central Final. If you can go to the next one, I just want to show you just, 60 seconds of these kids. I got emails from other coaches, other athletic directors, and parents from the teams that we played, talking about what an amazing group of kids we had, especially the students that were in the stand. And it was fantastic. So our kids are in orange. This is when they won the game. And then the next game that we did end up losing, everyone, it was a blackout, so everyone had on black, and we were all there. We had two fan buses that went to the game. It was a lot of fun. What a great sports team that we have, and I just couldn't believe that we got several emails from people commenting on what great sports our kids were. So I thank them all for that. And for the coaches, because they did a great job. Okay, so here's our upcoming events. December 17th, the staff holiday party, and you're all invited. You should have got invitations from me and from Ms. Snow. It's at 4 o'clock at the Casa Diva in Northborough, which isn't far from here. We hope that she'll come, even if it's just for a few minutes. It's a lot of fun, and the PTO does a fantastic job. And then we have the Diderot Society colloquium night at 6 o'clock on January 15th. The kids would be so excited. I mean, they're like hoping maybe 15 people will come. Miss Lindsay, will you come? Will you come? I will definitely be there, but boy, would they love to see all of you. So there you go. And we'll have teachers there, because there'll be teachers there that will be presenting that night.
Where
so
is that?
That's going to be here. It'll be right here. Yep, right in this room right here. Yep, you got it. And then we have 8th grade step-up night coming, 6 to 8 o'clock on January 23rd. And this is just, for your information, this is kind of like the transition meeting, talking to 8th grade parents about what is our curriculum like. The department chairs are all here. What's the curriculum like? What do we offer if you stay here at AMSA in 9th grade and in high school, which we certainly want you to do. The next one is just a reminder that we do have the strategic planning meeting coming up for board members on January 25th. That is a Saturday. I have 8:30 down there in the morning. That's typically when we start, but that was a guess on my part. So then, as we become more and more active on a political level with the Massachusetts Charter School Association, I wanted to add in an activity that they have coming up on February 13th is a Charter School Advocacy Day right at the State House in Boston. You're all invited to attend. I will be there, Mr. Naraki will be there, and anyone else would like to come. So that's just something to get on your calendars.
Ms. Lindsay, if
Yes.
I may add, January 24th is Fabulous Arts Night.
Oh, goodness, Jess, thank goodness you mentioned that. That's at 6 p.m.
I think that we have the space booked for 6 p.m., but I think performances, I can't remember when the performances start.
I will have to make sure that's on my calendar. I do enjoy going to that, and that should not have been left off our events calendar, so thank you, Jess.
Chorus, jazz band, a cappella, and all of the visual arts to get displayed as well. It really is a lovely night if you've never been.
It is a lovely night.
Not
Is
just
that
because
here
I'm there.
too?
Pardon me, that's here too, yes. Are you still doing the displays in the White Building this time?
We have a planning meeting this week. The performance, the music performances happen in this room, and
Yeah.
I believe
The art
the
displays.
visual arts are in the White Building.
We tried that as an experiment last time in the spring, and it seemed to go well.
Yeah.
So, okay. And then just a big happy holidays to everyone. I hope you enjoy your holiday season.